Welcome back to Beg, Borrow, Steal, where our youth coaches are putting our new youth intake through their paces. They'll be arriving in a couple of months, but we've already got a report on what they're like. We're going to bring you that this episode, plus the top of the table clash. Okay, so here's that league table. We're no longer top of it, but we had pretty modest ambitions at the start of the season. So to be even anywhere near the summit after 20 games is a decent return, but two little blips since we've seen you last time have led to us losing top spot. In that last episode, we were winning 3-1. We then played the team that we're going to play today. They weren't as high up the table when we played them last, but we drew 0-0 with them before one of our better performances where we won 4-1. Then a 2-game blip. How we lost this game, I do not know. We had more shots on target, a better XG. They scored with 2 of their only 3 shots on target during the game, but at least we played well in that fixture. In the next game, against Badalona, who are near the top of the table, we were just outright poor. We recovered to win 1-0 in our next 3 fixtures, but we've had a little blip again. A 0-0 draw followed by a 3-3 draw where we were in the lead on 3 separate occasions and really should have taken all of the points. We had much the better of the XG, but we weren't able to get over the line. It means that we've lost top spot, and today it's first plays second. By the end of today's episode, we could be significantly behind the team at the top of the table, or we could have returned to first place ourselves. Before we get into that fixture, let's show you this youth intake that we're looking at. So here is the report. Who knows how much you read into it? It's branded as an excellent intake, the potential to be a golden generation for the club. But how many times have we seen that throughout Football Manager history? But let's have a look at what we could be looking at, because a few of these players could be useful over the next 2 or 3 seasons. Our top prospect, rated as an A-grade candidate, is a goalkeeper. That would be useful if he can improve and come through and be a first choice in years to come. It says at least one of the goalkeepers is a great prospect. Who knows? It could be 3 or 4, except they've told us that only one goalkeeper is coming through. So great information from the backroom staff there. We've got a decent centre-back that looks to be coming through and a reasonable striker as well. And other than that, well, it's slim pickings. But if we could get 3 players through this youth intake that could go on to be first teamers in 2 to 3 seasons' time, well, that would be a great little return. However, that's for the future. If we show you some transfers, the January window is just closed. We've done a little bit of business just to try and bolster our ranks for the second half of the season. Okay, we've done a little bit of business, aided by the fact that we managed to get 3 players off the books, giving us some excess wage budget. One was a backup winger who was on £750 a week. He's now left. We then had a midfielder who was on £350 a week. He's out the door as well. And then we had a third choice left back. He saved us another £400 a week. With that, we were able to do a little bit of reshaping. We'd already bought in Ridge Dua Lipa Adise, who would come in as a backup winger, come backup striker, just to give us a little bit more depth. We've only given him a contract until the end of the season. We don't expect him to be here next year, but he's come in on the minimum wage in Spain, and we're glad to have him there as a backup. But we've also bought in some players that are going to feature more in the first team. On loan, we've bought in Eusebio Monza, who may be a little bit slow, but otherwise he fits our DNA well, and he's got no significant weaknesses to his game. And he's left-footed as well, so was slotted in there alongside Smitty as our first choice centre-back. And then we've brought 2 more players in. One, just to help us in this season. Another, we've given a contract to the end of next season, because I think he could be a useful player for us. This is Lander, who I'm thinking is going to play either over on the left or over on the right or in central midfield. His physical attributes probably mean he'd be better off in the central areas, but I've bought him in primarily because he's got corner taking of 15, free kick taking of 16, and set piece delivery has been an area where we have struggled a little bit. And I like the idea of developing into an advanced playmaker that might play over on the right-hand side here, where he can cut inside onto his left foot, where his passing and his vision will be useful, finding those little pockets of space with that off-the-ball movement, and being a little bit of a set-piece specialist for us as well. So he's going to be here throughout this season and next. And then the other player that we've brought in is Frank, oh my God, Barr, who we've just given a contract to until the end of the season. He has got some great areas to his game. At 29, I wouldn't be adverse to keeping him another year if he proves himself, but his determination of 4 means that he doesn't really match our DNA that well. So we're just going to see how he does until the end of the season. He was happy to sign a 6-month deal. He's already made a couple of appearances. He's getting his match fitness up. We'll see whether he features more towards the end of the season. Maybe we should show you the team that we're going to play today. What's going to be an absolutely crucial top of the table tie. So we're still playing the same tactic that served us so well this season, although I am thinking it might be time to just freshen it up a little bit. When we started the season, we were predicted to finish 16th in this division. We've been in the top 2 or 3 pretty much all campaign, and I think teams are treating us with a little bit more respect, which is why we're struggling to score more goals. So although the shape might stay the same, by the time you see us next, we might have gone a little bit more adventurous. Difficult to do, and we don't have the fastest back line, but I think we might need to try and find some ways of creating more chances and being a little bit more potent. But for today's game, well, I think this setup could serve us well. We don't want to go out and be too open against the team that is the top of the table. So hopefully these boys will get it done for us. We're going to have Sergio in goal. He signed a new contract until the end of next season, so he'll continue as our first choice keeper. The other player we've rewarded with another 1-year deal is Guti. We have a few clubs sniffing around him, but we're going to try and keep him here. He's just signed a new contract. Quite a low minimum fee release clause, but in the lower leagues of Spain, I'm not sure anybody would pay that much outside of the top 2 divisions. We're going to have our loan signing of Eusebio Monza in the defence alongside Smitty, who continues to be our organiser back there. Then going into the midfield, we're going to have Alberto back as the halfback. We're having El Harchi, who we've now signed permanently. He's coming in to play for us next season as well on just 220 quid a week. Happy to get that deal over the line because that is a good player on very little money. Totti is still here on loan, developing really well. And I think if we could get him back next season, he would be another good loan addition for us. Then up front, we've got our 3 who, well, there's question marks against all of them. We've got Zordi, who been in and out of the side because of injuries a little bit. Over on the left, we've got David Jimenez, who either shows up and plays well or will go missing for 2 or 3 games on the bounce. And then we've got the conundrum, Javi Solsona, definitely our best striker on paper, but just 4 goals this season. And again, another player that is prone to picking up knocks. I don't know whether he's going to be around next season, or whether we might free up his wage in our wage budget and go hunting for something better. But these are the boys we're relying on today. Let's get out there and see whether we can grind out another result and go back to the top of the table, or whether we're going to be looking at those playoffs, maybe even over our shoulder. Okay, the teams are coming out. This has the feel of a bit of a season-defining game about it. It wasn't all about promotion at the start of the season, but now that we've come so close, well, you do start to daydream about these things. Even making the playoffs would be a great return, but we've led the table for much of the first half of the season. You don't really want to fall away and have your form crumble. So we'll see how we get on today. This is a team that are on a very good run of form. This is going to be a tough game. I think it probably suits us to be the away team. We've got a more cautious formation. We've got a more cautious approach to games. Maybe we can pick them off a couple of times on the break. We've got defending to do here, though, as they sling in a set piece. And he's all unmarked. He's got the ball back across the goal, and we've got a little bit fortunate that they've headed that one wide of the post. I wouldn't say we've made a particularly encouraging start. In fact, I think it's time to raise ourselves from the bench and demand more from the guys. If we can just get into half-time 0-0, maybe we can regroup and make some changes. I don't think we've played particularly well this half. We're on the ball, though. Here is Eusebio. Guti has been one of our main attacking outlets. He's got great pace down that left-hand side. And he's brought us forward this time. We've got it back to Smitty. We've changed flanks. Now we've got Zordi. He's going down the right-hand side. He wants to cut in on his left. Instead, he's gone outside on his right. And this is typical of the man that we've got playing up front for us. Solsona does not have the best finishing in the world. And he really does miss a hatful of chances. And 2 minutes before half-time, we're into the highlights again. We don't have the ball, which looks ominous. We are a little bit vulnerable to that ball in behind, even though we're not playing the highest line in the world. A couple of the goals that we conceded in that 3-3 draw last time out were balls that just went in behind our centre-halves. And players were able to run on and capitalise. They've got in down the sides of us again. You can see where the gaps in our team are, and they've gone into the lead on the cusp of half-time, and it was too easy. Our right back was just snoozing at the far post. He's not tracked the man that's come in from a wide position. In fact, they've got down both sides of us. Kevin's got in down the right. He slings it in, and then Perry is there and marked to tap it home, and there's no challenge at all. We are going to have to rouse ourselves for a big second half, because that is an abject performance. We've brought you 2 wins in our first 2 games so far in this series. This one's looking like an uphill struggle. Time to make some changes. Okay, we're back underway, and we've revamped things a little bit for this second half, both in terms of personnel and in terms of our tactics. We've gone a little bit more adventurous, although it's created absolutely nothing in this first 15 minutes. We're going to demand more of them again. We're up to a positive mentality. I'm not opposed to going attacking, because we are producing absolutely nothing. In fact, on 67 minutes, without a highlight to show for any of the changes that we've made, I think it's time to change the shape of the team as well as the players on the pitch. Okay, more changes made. We've taken our DM out of the team. We've also brought in a more attacking midfielder to play just behind the strikers. But I've noticed that Guti has picked up an injury. That could be trouble for us. Oh, there is Solsona again. He's through one-on-one with the keeper and produces absolutely nothing. Right, we've got an injury at left back. We might be struggling to fill it. I think we're going to have to call on Mr. Loverman, Chava, and he's going to go and play on his wrong foot as an attacking wing-back over on the left-hand side. If he gets involved in the equaliser, well, he's done very well. Okay, let's throw out another shout. Let's try and encourage them, even though they're a goal down. That's at least helped with the body language, but with 10 minutes left, it doesn't look good. We got a corner to defend. Maybe we'll head it clear and counter. Or maybe this is the end of our performance. We are countering. Here is Zordi. He's got a little bit of space in front of him. He's got players flooding forward to help out as well. He's just got to find one. He's found the on-rushing attacking midfielder. He's had another gilt-edged chance. The keeper's done well, but why don't you just play that low across the keeper rather than firing it to the side that he's standing? And even though we've got a good set-piece taker, we've got nobody on the end of that one. We've played a lot better since we went more attacking. We're still behind on the XG, though. And I think we're going to be struggling to get a point out of this game. This is a proper highlight, though. We've got one more effort. Solsona has another shot charged down. Can we get a good set piece in this time? It's going to be the last play of the game. He slung it in. We got a man on it. And Smitty has headed it high and wide. And that was the chance we needed to grab an equaliser that would have kept us in contention for top of the table. Instead, we've played poorly. Look at Zordi on a 6.3. Look at Solsona. I just don't think he is going to be the man that scores the goals we need. In fact, apart from our right back, we didn't really have anybody that covered themselves in glory today. I'm proud of your efforts, even if it wasn't to be today. I don't think so. I'm going to say we weren't good enough. And I'm pretty angry about it. Well, at least a few of the boys have responded to that. That was a pretty poor performance. By the time you come back and see us next, Well, we'll be in the final stretch of the season. We're going to have, a 34-game campaign. I reckon we're going to come back with maybe 3 or 4 games left to go, unless, of course, we've plummeted so far down into mid-table that there's nothing left to play for. We knew it was going to be an uphill struggle to beg, borrow and steal our way out of the lower leagues in Spain. We're now down to 3rd place with 3 points off the top. We're going to need a spirited comeback during the next 10 games.